Listen up here. The restaurant industry is grueling and unpredictable, just like this show, from the front of the house to the back of the house and all in between. We will turn up the heat, you turn up the volume. I'm Chef Antonio Caruana. Welcome to the Tell All Podcast, the Burnt Hands Perspective.
This podcast contains explicit and potentially offensive material. You've been warned. Now buckle up, bitches. Let's go.
Here we are.
Here we are.
I see you again. We're back. So
Back again.
Today we're going to do our podcast thing. We have an amazing friend, old school friend of both of ours.
Yes.
Going way back, Jon Lindsay, one of the block legends. And for all those people that are listening that aren't from the area of the 757 Hampton Roads, our block is the old school, all be at hangout area, 5-6 bars on the ocean front, Atlantic Avenue, Virginia Beach. Get fucked up, drinking, crazy, fucking, anything that you could do, debauchery at its finest.
Total debauchery.
90s, 2000s, and John just can't stay away.
Rally.
Was that?
Puke and rally.
Yes.
Puke and rally. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good.
that was
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it.
Yep. And that's it. So, I mean, we're talking about eating $13 all-you-can-eat crab legs back then at the
Oh,
end
God.
to fucking throwing it up so you can come back out and get into Joe's Soup of Spinning or whatever the fuck it was that night, right?
Go out
Oh,
and get
God.
Chicho's pizza at the end of the night.
Absolutely.
End with pizza.
So with that, though, comes age, comes knowledge, comes time. And John couldn't fucking get himself out of this industry, just like me and just like a lot of us. And here we are now, sporting gray beards. Back in the day, we didn't even have beards, really. And here we are. So there's a lot of shit, John, that went on in this industry, right? That has gone on and continues to go on, right?
Oh, for sure.
And a lot of it has to do with alcohol, drugs, hot chicks liking hot dudes. Chris, am I wrong here?
No, all of it's right. Yeah.
It's all right. So, so here you are now. You're at a bar now. You own a bar. You have a bar that is just still killing it, and you're still facing the fucking troubles now. As a bar owner, as a restaurant owner, and a bar owner, and everything else, you have to go with the trends, man. And talk to me about it, man. To where are we at with how we were when things were so easy? People used to come to the bar,
Throw money.
throw tips, and now we don't have that. Now we almost, for your industry, you almost have to get them to the fucking bar.
Well, when I came up, there was really, you either went to the block or you went to ODU's little block down there where it had like the 4400 Club.
4400 Club, yeah.
And they had Crazy Charlie. So those were like basically the two options. So when I started working security at Chicho's in the summer of 93. And back then business just came to you.
93.
It just walked in, fell in your lap. Yeah, I was 23 years old. Exactly. Yeah.
Crazy, 93, right?
Actually been working in bars and nightclubs since 1989 when I was 19 years old. Started working security. But yeah, it just came to you. And then over time, it became more of, MySpace kicked in a little bit, but then I even was, and I still do, like, I'll text people like, hey, like, I appreciate seeing you tonight. I think our industry is about making people feel special. Like, for me, you can get a Bud Light anywhere. That's what I tell people, my staff is like, you can get a Bud Light anywhere. But when someone walks in the door and you're like, Tony, it's good to see you. Do you want to do a Jaeger Red Bull tonight? Know what they do, how's things at Luce. Right. People know who you are, know about you. Obviously for you, it's different, but for maybe just more normal people, or celebrities.
Right.
You make them feel special.
So what happens is this, dude. You're exactly right. I say the same thing. We can get a bottle of wine, or we can get some a bottle of beer anywhere. We can go anywhere. 7-Eleven, the Total Wine. You can go anywhere you want and get that. Why the fuck do they want to come and get it here? That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's the goal. And to get more of those people here is the goal we fucking struggle with. That's the struggle, right? And that's as we get older,
making people feel special, and that's what I think the business is entirely.
Yeah, exactly. Special in some way or another.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Somewhere or another. And then, as we were younger, it took a long time to understand that.
Right.
Before we were just in the business so we'd be special. You know what I mean?
In the beginning, yeah. I think it was more,
I couldn't believe I got paid for it.
Well, there was a lot of cocky ego. So just reintroduce yourself with what the restaurants you were a part of and where you are now.
See, I didn't bounce around like a lot of people. I worked, well, I take that back. I worked at a hotel bar when I was about 19 years old when I was in Radford. I went to Radford University. And then I worked at this place called East Coast Raw Bar. I worked security there for about 3 years. I went to Chicho's, the original Chicho's at the block, which became the box later on as a police station. Summer of 93 until about 95, Alex Assertion opened a place called Fat Daddy's, wasn't he opening?
Yeah.
Right before the Edge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he had lost the Edge, went there,
Yeah.
got the Edge back. He called it the Wave. And Billy Hudson and I started working there. And he didn't even have, Alex didn't have a liquor license. He was serving Mad Dog and beer.
I remember that.
For probably 6 months or a year or something like that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And then he got his license back and he was serving alcohol. And at the same time, I was coaching college soccer at Chuan. So I was going back and forth, just working security. And he's like, hey, I'm going to make you a bartender. I'm like, I got this job. He's like, no, I'm going to make you a bartender. And I'm like, all right. So I started bartending the summer of 96. And I left the college job and I was going to go just work on my master's and things like that. I started bartending, and that's where I've been since.
You started making the money. The Masters didn't sound so appealing.
It didn't. I didn't want to do it at all.
You were going to spend more money than you would have made in a summer to get a Masters.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So,
I think a lot of people know about you. Like, I mean, you're very well educated. You love school and reading.
I mean, I take pride in that.
Yeah, and you always have been, which is a funny part. I think the misconceptions in this industry, like, you're kind of the hot guy behind the bar, but in essence could hold a conversation.
Fucking stud.
He is,
50-something years old you now, bro.
54. Just turned 55.
54. I know.
How he looks.
See?
I'm fucking pushing 50. I'm got to keep up. Got to get in there. I got to get in there. Now, go back to 19 when you were talking about the hotel. Let's get raunchy for a minute because that's what people like to hear too. At what point in time, what enticed you about the bar industry besides you needed a fucking job to get through school and everything? There was a turning point somewhere, right? And I remember mine. Mine was I was always into cooking. My father was a chef. I always looked up to him. I grew up in a culinary kitchen in a sense, and that's kind of where I got my drive, was to just emulate that. I want to imitate that feeling I had then, right? The smells and everything. And then I just kept progressively getting more fucking psycho about it, right? Here I go. But I remember specifically when my life changed and I was probably a senior in high school. I was working at a place called Graziano's, and it was an Italian restaurant, and I was just stoked to be in there smelling the food and everything else. And then what happened was
What had happened?
is there was this fucking, I won't say no names right now because I don't remember, but there was this fucking waitress there that was so fucking hot, man, and they would all go out. And at the time, I was young, but I was old enough to know. My dick worked at that time. Everything was cool, man. I was like,
Is it the young dumb?
I was young, dumb, full of cum, ready to dump. You know what I mean? Just ready to just take victims after victims like a fucking Indian tribe, scalping. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, that girl right there is fucking smoking. And I did it, and she was older, man. She was not a girl. She was a woman. Like,
She was showing you something is the best part about it.
God, she
That's
told
the
me
best part.
this was back in the day. So she had that spritz. She looked like she just crawled off a Corvette hood on a fucking Whitesnake video.
Right.
And I'm like, yo. So I'm like, I got to get on that Corvette, right? So I'm like, shit, that right there is when I said, there's more to this. And then that fucking attitude started happening. Then a good decade went by when I was 19 to about 29, right? That's a decade, ain't it?
That's a decade.
Shit. I'm not a good counter like you, man. I could just kidding.
You're-
Anyway, so that in that decade from 19 to 29, the cooking was secondary.
Yeah.
The food was secondary. The party, the hype, the fucking debauchery. There was another woman that was married, didn't like life. I was fucking 22 or something like that. I used to fucking bang her out in the back walking. She would go home and it was
The
not,
back walk
that was
was-
more, that was more interesting to me than the cooking at that time. So there was a huge turnover where and then we went through those phases, and there's an enticement there, right?
Yeah.
Tell me it's not true. So what I want to hear is, you don't have to get specific. Maybe you don't remember, but am I wrong in saying that there was such a different dynamic to this whole industry that people? Here's the thing, John's a great bartender. He runs a good bar. He's a solid guy. That's my boy. You know what I'm saying? He's a good guy. Or the chicks. Oh, he's hot. His girl's hot. She's smoking. That's a great place to be. I'm going to go there. But what they don't realize is the shit that we've been through to make them say they have no idea. The nonsense, right? So where did you find out
Early
that?
2000s.
What I just told you, where did you find out? What was your first enticements to, okay, well, maybe this is something here I got to stick into. Fuck my master.
Yeah, was it the money or the women?
Mine was a little bit later because I went to Radford, which was insane anyway. It was just like, there were
a
6
party
girls to guys, and it's in a little town. It's not like ODU where everything's spread out. So it's all there. So
This is in Virginia, Radford.
from Radford University, yeah. And I mean, I took my time in college, and I was 23, 24 years old before I graduated, and I'm talking to 18, 19-year-old girls, and it's not even fair. Like what you understand how to talk to a woman is, and I worked in a bar I was in a fraternity, worked in a bar.
You were a salesman.
It's not even fair.
It was a thing? Are you
I had a friend who was like the same age as me, and we we would just be like, what's the most fucked up thing you can say and still pull it? You know?
Yes, tell me.
So, I mean, you would just come up with just crazy stuff all the time. You would just say something crazy, and I was, like you said, like I was slaying it there. And girls would be like, well, you fuck so many girls, blah, blah, blah. And then, my line was after a while, just like, you know what? I tell you what, I'm going to walk out that door and I'm going to wait outside the door for 5 minutes. And I'll see you in 5. I know you're going to come out there. And I would just walk out the door, just wouldn't say another word to her, just walk out the door. Within 5 minutes, she's right there and walk right to the apartment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Radford was insane. The bars have been insane. Radford was insane too.
That doesn't really happen as much anymore today, or does it? I don't know anymore because I'm not searching like
Do you
that.
see it? I mean, you have more of an active bar. Like here,
I'd say-
maybe as Luce, it's different.
I think venue's not quite the same because it's more of a little bit older crowd.
Yeah.
The block back in the day was just insane. I remember,
Yeah.
I don't even know how many girls I fucked in the walk.
Not only that, real, but I remember wondering which one I'm gonna fuck. Like you'd be in a mental conundrum, like, oh my god, you're almost like, fuck, she's fucking hot, but man, I want to get with her, and that other one that was from last week was dope too, and she's here. What the fuck am I gonna do?
I would actually have times where I was actually trying to be faithful, and I would have a girlfriend. I would have a girlfriend. Oh, I'm trying to be faithful,
Yeah.
and girls would come up to you and they were like, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, I'm flattered, but I have a girlfriend. I can't do it. And they'd be like, it's okay, I just want
They
to
don't
fuck you.
care.
And I'd be like, but I'm trying to be faithful.
They're like, fuck.
They're like, just take me in the walk-in and fuck me real quick and just be done with it. They're just like, and you hear that like 4 or 5 times, and you're just like, I mean, and you're in your 20s, you're just
At some point in time, you're like, whatever, let's do it.
I think it's funny because men think that it's always the misconception. Women are way worse than men.
I think so.
When it comes
I don't know
to
if they're
comments
worse.
and directness, when a woman wants something, they want something.
Yeah, for sure. And she knew she could get it because like for a guy, like we get turned down. Like, I mean, we put it out there and we get turned down all the time, but women just
Oh yeah,
out there and they're gonna.
it's pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, how many times can I tell you no?
Yeah, and your guys are just like, I mean, you know how to work it on on the female side of things, which also in the industry helps a lot too, because we make a ton of money when we all work together, and we made you guys money.
You're making ridiculous money, and you've got beautiful women like knocking your door down to try and fuck you. I mean, like,
Sure,
there's no
for a drink.
pulled into that.
And it's not even for the drink. A lot of them are doing it for the clout or to get in the bar or in the restaurant industry. They want to be known. They want to know the chef.
Or they want to say they fucked you.
Or they want to say they fucked you. But that works both
like
ways. That works both ways because there's women that walk in that, that were like, perhaps. You know what I'm saying? Being faithful is very hard in this industry. It's a very hard thing because you're subjected to stuff that most people
I don't believe in monogamy at all. I just don't.
It's a hard deal.
I don't believe in it. I don't think we're made for monogamy. I know that's like a weird thing to say, but
It's a hard fucking deal. When a guy sits there and judges that doesn't have the opportunity, you get to work, you go to the shipyard, you start fucking welding, you come home, you smell like a fucking boot, right? And not even your own boot, right? You smell like the inside of a hobo's fake leg, right? And your wife is sitting there and she's miserable because she knows that's what you smell like, and you're gonna have to go wash with your fucking pert and whatever you use in your hair, and you're gonna sit down and watch Jeopardy. That guy is gonna easily tell someone like me that I'm a piece of shit because I have this fucking I've had issues in my past, right? They're gonna tell me I'm a piece of shit. Motherfucker, have you ever walked into a place full of fucking tits? No. Have you ever walked into a place full of tits that want to fucking give them to you? No. Have you ever been subjected to any of that? Have you ever worked your ass off cooking something so much that the reward is women licking their lips at you going, holy fuck, are you this delicious too? Da, da, da. They don't understand what that is, right? So the fucking fighting that demon is huge. It's a huge problem. People don't get it. So this industry is that way, man. We're not. I don't wire it that way, but I think some people are.
I just don't see how it's so difficult a thing. If we're supposed to be that way, why is it so difficult?
Do you think it's because you started this at 19 years old? Do you think the industry, like we're talking about, has anything to do with fucking weakening up that fabric?
I mean,
we're subjected to it, so does that make us?
Yes, but you still have the guy who's working the shoe bar and banging somebody. He's just not banging the girls that.
Yeah, he's banging the fucking. He's banging a Firewatch.
He's banging his level. You know,
we're on that. Yeah,
we all have levels. You know what I mean?
Everybody does.
He's not banging movie stars.
Yeah.
He's banging someone that I probably wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's different. Exactly.
It is.
Probably, yeah, you'd pass.
Yeah,
smash or pass
on that. Yeah.
Smash or pass.
That's 90% for him. That's like his side piece. He's good with that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Sneaky link.
I just don't think we're wired that way at all.
Sneaky links everywhere.
You know, I don't know how people do it. And I agree with you that opportunity is a huge thing because, I mean, I'm not naive to think that I don't think I'm the best looking dude in the world by any means. Sometimes I'm shocked at the women that approach me. I'm sure that it's alcohol and being a social lubricant. You're there and
Yeah.
Social lubricant.
That's a good
That sounds like a fucking band.
Oh, we are
Really what it is.
using that's your
Social
band name.
lubricant.
Social lubricant.
I'm going to Northern and I see Social Lubricant. They're playing. Yeah, they got a good show. So now, getting off of that subject a little bit, let me ask you this. So your bar and my restaurant are two totally different things, same animal, different subject, right? Same, different story. So same animal, different breed, I guess you could say, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You still have to produce. In my area, what I do, I'm known as a chef locally. I have a good following. I have a phenomenal following. I'm very, very, very fortunate and very humbled and honored. Well earned, I guess you could say. A lot of work for my team and me. It's just a big connection. So I have to constantly live up to that standard. I can sit here and talk all the shit I want right now about the past, and people look at me like, what the fuck's this guy talking about? Because we're not, some subjects, we don't really talk about the food and the actual passion for putting all that stuff aside and now bringing the product we know to bring. I always wonder, when I go to your bar, you guys have good food. You guys have good food. Like I went there last night, Nate. You have good food. And I'm not just saying that, I did. You know, your cook over there is good. You've gone through some cooks, but you've kind of been able to keep one or two for always kept a long time.
I've probably had 4 chefs in 13 years.
Right. So how, you know, when you want to go out there and you have a bar full of these people we're talking about, typically on the younger side, our side and lower, my age and lower, does it stress you out at all trying to keep that mentality of the food with that bar nightclub clientele? For all those who don't know, Virginia has a rule and a law that we have to sell half of the amount of profits or earnings in food. So how do you do that without fudging numbers or feeling guilty or feeling fucking like, oh my God, how many French fries can you sell? You really got to sell good food to make that number real, so we don't go home stressing and we don't get raided by the ABC for lying and bullshit, right? Which happens. How do you go about that? Do you stress about the food aspect of this whole thing while you're trying to maintain that sexy, nightclubby fucking craziness?
I think the nightclub nights, you sell less food during the busy nightclub part, but you sell a lot more food before and after. You know, like you still sell up to the point where it's crazy in there. You know, at some point you're like, it's just not comfortable to eat in there because there's 150 people jammed in this little space. 200 people, whatever you want to say it is. And then, you know, you're going to sell a lot of food afterwards. I think selling late night food was good for us, you know, and we stay open. The kitchen, I keep the kitchen open until people stop ordering. So if you're there and
I've ordered there at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
2:45 food there.
If we're still doing things, people walk in the door like, hey, I want some food. I'm like, absolutely. Yeah.
So keeping that standard, your chefs are living there in a nightclub environment. They're looking out that little peephole and they're seeing all this shit happening. Half your fucking waitresses are smoking enough to where they don't even have to look past them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're probably in the back semi'd up. They're all fucking half hard back there. You got to hit them with saltpeter, right? So there's got to be times where, you know, your chefs are in question at some point in time. The food takes too long. These are all stresses that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's not as, how many times have you ever fucking walked back there and your chef's doped out, or have you ever dealt with them?
Bro, I had one a while back that just, especially like during the COVID time frame and like post-COVID a little bit, I had one I hired and he's just like fell asleep in the back. Just like we're putting tickets in the window. This guy's like, not at all. Doped out. Just straight up, yeah, like took pills or something. I'm not sure what he did.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Some opiate of some sort.
I had one guy working for us who was just a straight up crackhead, like knew he's a crackhead. And I'd be like, hey, you know, I need you to, you know, tomorrow 9 o'clock. He was like, nah, I don't think I'm coming. I don't feel like it. He's like, I was like, can you come Thursday? I'm like, I'm like literally begging people to come, and I'm paying twice the money I was before COVID. Like the money, right? The pay scale is
people got used to not working
for people who aren't even nearly as competent,
right?
And this guy's like, yeah, and I'm like, dude, it's everything in me to just not smack the shit out of this fucking guy to start with. You know what I mean? And ended up stealing money from us too. But I mean, if I don't have a cook, I can't sell food. You know what I mean? Like if I don't,
so you're stuck. You're in the corner.
I literally have to have a cook in the building, or I'm not allowed to sell.
And after that COVID time, man, as a chef and everything, we all suffered. The restaurant / bar entertainment industry all suffered more than anybody, I feel.
Yeah.
Because we only get by on people coming in, and if they're not allowed to come in, we are fucked. So luckily for me during COVID, I had a really good following, and I actually did really well in COVID due to the food aspect of it. But I couldn't imagine being a bar, wondering what your fucking destiny was or your fate. You miss 1 month of rent, that's one thing. And then you go into the second, and then you go into the third. Now you're tapping into your own money. This is a scary fucking situation. And And then when we come out of it, come the fucking assholes on top of it.
Yeah.
Mutton heads. You ever smash one of them? Yes.
I keep my hands to myself.
Not me. I smash them fast.
Now, not back when we were allowed to do what we wanted.
Sometimes you got to let a motherfucker know. I don't care. You got to, you know what I mean? Fuck around and find out. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm on that tip of going to do that and being a tough guy, but when that motherfucker's nodding out, he needs to get slapped around because he's wasting everybody's time. I just can't stop that reaction. And I am getting better at it as I get older, right?
You've been more controlled.
I have been. Yeah, I used to be a bastard back in the day when it came to these people because they're fucking with my passion.
Yeah.
And they're fucking with
your money.
And my money.
Yeah.
And everybody else's money. You know what I'm saying? And after COVID, we had a fucking shit ton, a metric shit ton of jerk-offs, assholes, clowns, drug addicts, alcoholics, all came out of the woodwork because everybody else decided they weren't going to work. All the normal.
And you're trying to coach them up and you're trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. There's enough mayo for that. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's not enough.
There's not enough mayo. So, and the same thing happened. So now we had this whole thing where we started blaming, I feel we started blaming millennials and all this shit that I'm looking back at now. And that's not the case. It was a tough fucking time for us, man. Mm-hmm. And to be a bar owner and everything else, I mean, what's left? I mean, we had to reinvent ourselves coming back on it. And now it's finally starting to come back around. I don't know how you're.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's easier to get starting to get easier. I'm starting to have people come to me wanting jobs versus me going begging to come to work.
Yeah.
I feel like you've got to build some kind of camaraderie about the business, especially the front of the house a little bit. Well, I'm more front of the house, so I'm constantly trying to team build with them. I let my chef kind of just run the kitchen, and I look at him more of like, I'm going to come to you like strategic things. I'm not going to come to you like
micromanaging.
I'm not. It's not my expertise. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's been cooking for 30 years, and for me to come back there and try and micromanage every little thing that he does would be counterproductive. So I'm like, I come to him with big issues, and I try not to even talk to some of the cooks, like, because sometimes they still do turn over. Like if you're a new cook, I'm probably not going to know your name for the first 2 weeks because I don't know if you're going to last.
Same thing. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
No.
So when you have when you hire them out, you're trusting them to hire. You're trusting your food product to be good. You're doing your quality assurance and your quality control. And I noticed also you changed your menu. You brought that down a little bit. You had we had to make it much smaller just because for us, the chef, the first guy can cook everything on the menu exceptionally well. But then you got the number 2 guy and you got the number 3 guy. And really our goal is that you make sure that you're still putting the same product out, whether it's number 2 or number 3 is cooking and the chef's at home for his night off. And when the menu is so big, like you walk in and you're a new guy and you're just like, oh, the guys are overwhelmed. Yeah, definitely.
And I'm keeping so much, obviously you try and use product in multiple ways, but sometimes, you've got a variety of products now that have had potential to go bad. So we just shrunk it down and try to dumb it down and not dumb it down, but shrink it down and give people less options. And what we have done is that we kind of have like a sort of a little semi-secret menu, you know what I mean? Where we're like, oh, I remember I used to be able to get that portobello pasta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, yeah, let me talk to Nate. And I'm like, Nate, can you still do my good friend, Tony's in, can you do the pork belly pasta for him? He's like, absolutely.
Yeah, does a good job too.
So that's kind of fun in a way because that makes people feel special too. Like,
yeah, right.
It's not on the menu, but they cook it for me. You know what I mean? It's like when I come to see you, you're like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know, maybe whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, we got
because I know it's got to be able to get soon. Yeah,
we got to do that.
I don't even look at a menu when I walk in here anymore.
Yeah, that's right. You shouldn't.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of failures in the industry. We know a lot of people don't last. So, Jon, you have to tell everybody kind of how long you guys have been there.
So I've been at Venue for 13 years.
Yeah.
Just did 13. It'll be 14 in October. I was at The Edge for 15 years.
Yep.
And then I think I was at Chicho's for probably 2 or 3.
Yeah, which is long runs. I mean, in this industry, I was on opening teams, so I was mostly in everybody who opened. After we left the block, I opened everybody's restaurant with them. And it was, a few years, you help them open up and you move on. But it's a long time for a restaurant.
I'm a fan of like a flower you're planted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like I kind of became like the manager at The Edge at some point. And never was a day where they're like, you're in charge. It was just like we had people that were ahead of me, authority-wise, left or for whatever reason. I'm like, look, all these things got to be done. And if we want to make money, these are things that have to be done.
Yeah,
So it would never was like, you're in charge. It's like, I guess on some level, I have some level of natural leadership. So I'm like, look, you knock this out, I'll do this. And like, I'm going to lead by example too. Like,
those traits and qualities
myself. I'll go clean a toilet right now. Like,
sure, no problem.
Not a problem.
I do it.
I clean toilets all the time.
Point, I do it all the time.
Yeah.
So if you have, I don't do it all the time, but when I have to prove a point, I do it.
Yeah.
But I will do it. There's there's nothing in this restaurant right here that I can't or haven't done.
Yeah.
From dishwashing all the way up to busboys, I've done every single position in the restaurant industry, not only once or twice, but as a fucking job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So as I grew and as I got older and as time went on, my job changed and elevated. And then once I figured out that the food I was cooking tastes better than half the pussy I was eating, I decided, let me just focus on that. And then that's when everything else took a back burner. And now I'm just off to the races. I think age has a lot to do with it and everything else, so on and so forth. But right now, I feel like I'm at the top of my game with all that. My palate's where it needs to be. I stopped all that, all the partying, all the drugs is well years behind me. And it cleaned up my palate all the way around. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it really got me focused. It got me hiring the right people. It got me getting rid of the fucking wrong people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's
the wrong person can be such a cancer to your staff.
Talk about that. Let's talk about that. I mean, cancer toxicity is the worst, and it only takes one person to stir that fucking pot.
Yeah.
That kettle sucks.
Yeah.
So, if you have one bad apple, it's so fucking weird how that son of a bitch can literally cancer everybody out of there.
Yeah.
And once you get rid of them, everybody's fine. Almost like when you were telling everybody, don't listen to that clown. They weren't listening to you. Then the clown's gone and everybody's happy again. It's so fucking relieving, Punks, for sure.
It's changed a lot. I mean, I think that, we could say a lot of things back in the day. You could fire people or hire people and say certain things. I mean, and everybody, we did our job. I think everybody back, and that's what we keep saying, coming from old school to new school, it's just that passion or wanting to actually serve people, like you said. You wanted to actually make people feel important.
Yeah.
That's our number one job. In the restaurant business, people want to feel like a movie star. They want to show up. They want to be treated special no matter who they're with, and they want you to know their name. And I think some of that art has been lost. Even in Finer, you have it at Luce, you still have it. There's very few places that still have it, and you guys have it. So is that the key?
I totally do. I mean, when Tony walks to your table, you're a rock star. You know what I mean? You feel like, I'm sure you can't touch every table in here on a Friday night.
No, absolutely not.
People get their table touched, they're like, yeah, Tony came to see me. That's a big deal.
It's a
I know the owner, and we get annoyed with hearing that, but people, that's a big deal.
It is.
Yeah.
And I had a door guy years ago who was like a germaphobe. He's like, I don't know why this guy comes in. Every time he comes in, he has to touch me. He has to shake my hand.
Does that dude always had gloves on and the mask?
He would know, but he always has he
sanitizer,
carries hand sanitizer all the time. Right? Great door guy. But I'm like, bro, that's because we're in the business of making people feel special. Every time he walks up, he says hi to you because he wants everybody to know that know him.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these people can go anywhere on a Friday night. They can go a million places to spend their money, but they choose to come here and spend their money with us.
Because you make them feel good.
Yeah, because they know you and you make them feel special. And that's our job, is to make people feel special.
When I go to tables and touch tables, I'm genuinely wanting to pretty much let people know I appreciate that they're there.
Yeah.
That's why I do it. I'm not looking to get anything out of it. I'm not looking to solve the world's problems. I'm literally walking up. When I ask you, how is everything tonight? I'm concerned how everything is tonight. I want to know.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't taste good, which 9 times out of 10, if it doesn't, they ain't going to say nothing to me. As soon as I leave, they'll say it to the waitress, or they'll put some fucked up bullshit review out.
Mm-hmm.
But, I like to touch tables because these people coming in, it's very important. It's very important.
Yeah.
I've walked to tables and left and the couple gets in a fucking fight because the woman has some shit to say. They're ruthless, like you said. And then I've had other times where I walked up to the table and the guy wants to give me a hug and take pictures. There was a time I had to stop taking pictures at my other location because it was interfering with the
dining experience.
Yeah. It was such a small restaurant, and I was right there in front of them, so they all wanted a picture with the chef. It doesn't necessarily mean because it was me per se; it was the chef.
I think with you that is because it's you.
Well, we'll see.
I'm driven because of you. I'm impressed at how well you've been with keeping both places open, because I feel like you drive the place.
Well, I've tried. It's my staff down there, my team over there does a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for that, I'd be there much more.
Right.
But they do a great job representing everything. They've really paid attention coming up with me, and I was able to safely leave the place for them to run
competent hands.
and come over here and take care of this one.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference between when things fail with 40 people in the dining room or 250 to 300.
Yeah.
So the avalanche dropped quick, and I have to be here a lot to solve that.
Right.
But they do such a good job there that's the thing. It's because I treat them right. We pay them right. We pay them on time. We make sure they get what they need. And if that wasn't the case, they wouldn't be there simply. You know what I'm saying? That's the end of it. Yeah. So a lot of these people in the restaurant industry give people like me or chefs like myself a bad name because they don't want to take care of their people. And then everyone blames the industry as being shit, right? I can get into this all day long. If you read the Bourdain books and you read all these people, a lot of these guys are talking about how fucking shitty the restaurant industry can be, right?
Yeah.
While they're writing a book counting millions of dollars they've made off the fucking restaurant industry. So it's almost like, don't fucking bastardize the whole restaurant industry because you didn't get paid right and you agreed to that. You know, back in the day, people got slaughtered with money. We didn't get shit. I remember when I took
house. No, you got
no. I got my first sous chef job when I was young, and I was making $600 a week, and that was fucking cash money. I was like, yeah, I made it. Like I was rolling shit. All right, I was rolling my ass.
We were making $600 a night.
$600 a night. Yeah, and that's still the same.
I only made fucking $6 today. This is some bullshit, right?
But you're making $600 a night, and our staff is making $600 a week, but. That was then. I try and maintain a fucking better value than that for my
right.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps it coming back.
Yeah.
So it's the shitbags that don't pay their staff right, and that staff starts writing these books on how shitty the industry is. Stay away. It's not a shitty industry. It's a great industry, and there's thousands of dollars to be made if you know how to make it, or if you have any gumption to make it. Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of dealing.
I think that's a big part. What you said there. You have to have the gumption to make it too.
You have to. Right.
You have to make your own way.
Exactly.
Like the industry can either fuck you over, or you can make a bunch of money.
Oh yeah.
If you move in the right ways. You know what I mean?
Yep.
There's some people that it sounds harsh, but they're never going to be a front of the house person because they don't have the look, or they don't have the voice, or they're not articulate. They're not salespeople. You know what I mean?
Not sales. They're not selling themselves.
You know what I mean? It's sales.
Like you said, you're selling an experience. You're selling yourself. And you could make a fucking phenomenal drink, but if you just don't know how to talk to somebody while you're giving it to them, right? You don't know how to keep your emotions under control. You're not going to make it. You're going to bring the whole team fucking down.
I got girls on the floor, and I'm like, you can be a shark or you can be a guppy. This is my new thing I've been saying lately, because there's people walking in the door. I go, there's VIP sections for sale, and we're on autograph for VIP sections. So they sell you a $750 minimum on a VIP section. I mean, do the math right there. And if she gets you up to $1,500, then do the math right there. You know what I mean? Everything she sells, she's making more money. I was like,
sure.
Yeah. She's like, I didn't make any money. Well, it's because you're a guppy. You sat back and watched people walk to someone else.
Right.
Or you watched them walk to the bartender.
Exactly.
If you grab the guy as soon as he walked in the door, and you make the guy feel special, and you make him, hey, I want to talk to this pretty girl, so I'm going to buy this $750 section and sit up there with her all night.
Yeah.
You make money. You're going to be a shark or going to be a guppy. What do you want to do?
And then the other thing I say to them too is this: you're making a percentage off what you made me. The difference is, though, a lot of what I made is also what I had to put in the money so you could make it. So you have a clean, clear percentage off of my investment.
No overhead.
So yes, you made me money, but you've made a clean, clear fucking investment. You've made clear money.
Your investment is your time.
So your
investment and my time.
Right. So the capital, the monetary investment I have helps get that percentage. So go get that motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
Don't worry about what you're making me. Bring that check average up.
Yeah.
Make as much money as you can. Walk out of here happy as fuck. I have the blueprint and the tools. I set it up for you. We all work together. Yes, it's going to benefit the business. Obviously. However, the more you sell, the more I have to reproduce. If you sell a $150 bottle of wine, I have to go buy it back. So I have the monetary obligation. You have the percentage to make it. So go make it. I'm not going to be mad at you.
On top of
make as much as you can.
That the more someone makes in this industry, the more you can be demanding of them. So I've always been a fan of I'm never going to overstaff. I'm going to try and be right at that fine line of, where a manager might have to step in and help a little bit, because I feel like, there's a lot of $150 a night bartending jobs out there. But if I can put you in a position where you make $500 a night, now I can be like, you're going to be on time. You're going to do this.
You're going to show up.
You're going to work hard and promote. You're going to do all these extra things, because there's not a lot of jobs out there where they're making that.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I help people succeed and they make a lot of money, then I can be demanding and I get a better quality person. Just like you're going to pay more in the kitchen, you're going to get a better quality.
Sure.
So
exactly.
I think that,
when it comes to that, it's the same. Fine dining here, what I do is a little bit different. We have a lot more career-oriented people. And it's sometimes hard to weigh that balance beam of putting too many people on the floor and making sure our quality of service doesn't get.
Yeah, you can't let the quality of service.
So we can't. Quality can't suffer for convenience.
I can't have someone sitting in the bar waiting 15 minutes for a beer.
so they can make more money.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's not the case, right?
So, but that puts pressure on them too. Like as for me in my industry, I can be, look, you guys can hustle and be right on top of things, and we'll run 3 bartenders. If you want to be slack and like fuck around all night, then I'm gonna put 4 on.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna make sure I get service. So you want to be a great bartender and you're gonna bring people out and the bar makes what it's supposed to make all the time, then we'll run 3. If you want to fuck it up and act like a bunch of assholes and treat it like a game, I'll put 4 on. And there's a lot of people that just go, that's right, 4 on. Yeah.
I think the pride part of it too. If you're not proud of what you're doing, you're gonna have pride in it. Because I mean, when we did it, remember back at the Edge and Excess, the girls were not allowed behind the bar.
Right, back then,
told by Alex, I was not allowed to bartend.
Yeah.
Every night he was off, guess who was behind the bar making all the guys fucking money?
Yeah.
So that was a thing that I took pride in it and hustled. So I made more money. And I knew the harder you worked, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah, tits out, tips out.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, half my wardrobe.
Put that on the shirt. Tits out, tips out.
Like there was safety pins and duct tape for like a whole fucking half a decade.
Yeah.
But we had that thing where it was everybody worked hard, and if someone didn't, you would razz the shit out of them because they're not pulling the same drawer. Like they're not.
You don't got any friends? What I made 500, you made 2?
Yeah, like I rang like $4,000, you rang 1,500.
Yeah.
How is that equal?
I'm like, why are we working together? I don't understand why you're still working here.
So they got kind of weeded out, but the pride part of it was the biggest part because if you were proud of what you were doing, you naturally worked harder and made money.
I foster competition in mine all the time. I'm like, what did you ring? What did you like?
Always.
From the perspective, because I still bartend, so I'm there bartending.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm going to be my goal is I'm going to be the high ring and I'm going to make the most of money, and then I'm going to tell you about it.
That's when you know you have a good staff, Jon.
Tell you about it the whole time.
When people are when the front of the house has that friendly competitive spirit where they're actually always comparing and trying to challenge.
Yeah,
you know you're in a good spot with a good crew, because if you don't have that motherfucker don't care. And they're just picking up like a fucking sucker on the bottom of a whale.
If you don't have that, I'll keep you.
Yeah, keep it. You got to go. You got to go. If your numbers don't talk, you're walking. Beat it.
One of the last bartenders I hired, she came in as a guest because when I was starting my Latin night, she came in and she had some Latin night experience. And I can't expect a guest who's unfamiliar with the system and everything to ring what I'm going to ring. So we're going, I outring her by a pretty good amount. But I mean, she hustled. She had a good number, really strong number. And she walked up to me after and she's like, everywhere I work, I'm the high ring, and I really don't like how tonight went. So just so you know, if you ever have me back, I'll ring you. And I'm like, you want to work next Friday? Just like that. I hired her right there. Stopped using guests, and I was like, you're got a job next Friday if you want to come in.
Yeah.
Because I knew she wanted to hustle, she wanted to compete.
Hungry. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I don't like getting outranked. It wasn't about the money because we split the money.
Yeah. I mean,
she's like, I don't like getting outranked.
At the end of the night,
I am the top dog where I work, is what she said to me. And I'm like, that's the person I want.
That's the one you got to keep. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that
I work with.
Those are the ones that are far and few between, but they're out there.
Yeah, they're out. Just got to find them, and you got to work hard to.
At least
you got to make them feel special, and you got to know they're appreciated, and you got to continue to groom them. Because the other thing I love about her is she still had things to fix. But I'd be like, hey, while you're working, I want you to make sure that there's a lime on the bar right there. I want that up. You can have this conversation right here, but you can still reach there and pick that lime up and throw it in the trash. You know what I mean? Like, they shouldn't have a dirty bar. Absolutely no problem. Right. Super coachable.
That's awesome.
Like, you tell her to do something one time, she's on it. Boom.
Same thing here. We have the same thing, on a finer scale. We have our crummers,
right,
and things like that. If these are the things that are very important in my half of the industry.
Yeah.
We're putting out, my team, my culinary team in the back. We're at the pass plating microgreens. We're doing things with associates and making sauces. We have a very strict regimen when it comes to plating our food and putting it out on the table. And the last thing you're going to do is spend all that time and then bring it out and it's going onto a table that's dirty, doesn't match the level of. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah,
it's great, ludicrous.
It would make me insane.
It's not even a thing here, right? So if that is a case, then that person doesn't belong here.
Right.
They need to go work at a lesser place or a place that doesn't worry about that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck out of my life. You know what I mean? Because
I see a half-empty water glass drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's pathetic.
It's just service, but I mean, and back to the vice part of it, because you've been in it longer than we have, technically. Like the vices that you went through. And
about this, I think you and I are about the same on this.
You're kind of living that other side of life because the vices aren't there, right, allowing you to fully focus on the restaurant.
Right.
So how has that changed over the last decade?
I think I was fortunate that I never was really a big drinker. That's what you're getting into, right? I've never been a big partier. I figured out about my freshman or sophomore year in college that I wasn't a good person. I was blacking out, coming clothes and ripped clothes.
Not like a werewolf.
My friends were like,
you got fucking blood on your clothes.
And I'm like,
there's a dead cow in the town center.
Intriguing's for me, you know what I mean? So if anything, I was a weed guy for a little while,
Yeah.
Always like get your shit done, then smoke weed kind of thing, like more like relax and go to bed. So I've just never been a partier. And I think that's certainly led to longevity in the industry.
Yeah.
It's allowed me to make some money and spend it properly, make
More
some
wisely.
investments versus like, I remember being at the edge and there was guys like, well, I'm going to take Saturday night off, and they would go out and they'd buy like a new outfit from the floor up, they'd spend $500-$600 out drinking. And I'm like, I'll take your shift.
Yeah.
I know that you can do that. I'm going to make 500. You go spend 500. You go spend 500. Plus you're going to spend 500 out. Like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I want your shift.
Yep.
Because you're a partier and I'm not. They're like, oh, you need to go out more. I'm like, yeah, go ahead.
So I have the opposite
There's two
experience.
distinct sides of the industry.
Yeah, let's say. I mean, there was times I'll be straight. I don't give a fuck because I've been clean from fucking the partying life of the drugs and stuff for many years, and that's okay. But there was a time that it was a total opposite for me. It was all about partying. It was all about hanging out. It was all about fucking. It was all about cooking the best you could, and also at the same time just cooking enough to get by, so you can take a piece of dry bucatini and do a pin line of coke just for a joke between the rush tickets, right on the line, just to fuck with people and just to keep it exciting. You know what I mean? If you ever seen a piece of bucatini, it's a piece of spaghetti with a tiny hole. Yeah. Small hole. Yeah.
Keeping it classy.
Small hole. So you really, the game was to see how much you could literally suck to get up that tiny fucking hole. And you had one fucking chance to do as much of that line as you could and then go back to the tickets. These are the things we did, man. And in that, we've created a fucking goddamn another subculture in there that was just stupid. It didn't make sense. But everybody, not everybody, a majority of the people were in on it. They were in on it. And if you weren't in on it, you
functioning at it still.
They were functioning.
We're function, still function.
Yeah,
That's the key.
It
know
helped
enough
us
of those.
function. Yeah, because it was morale boosting. It was fun. It was sometimes not fun. Sometimes it was horrible. But these are the vices that kept us going. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't be shit right now. I wouldn't be where I am.
Yeah.
There's no way I could do what I'm doing right now in this industry if I hadn't have done all that stuff. Because I need to know both sides of it. I had to literally party until I had to be at work and show up at 11 o'clock to start mise en place for the shift. Fucked up. Still. Hung on.
Well, he did,
drunk,
yeah.
Coke nose. I could trying to breathe, all that shit. This is all stuff we did normally, and it was so fucking common that I'm talking about it like no one's listening right now. Like it's not even a big deal. However, everyone's listening
your
to this.
normal.
Going, this guy's a fucking psycho.
No, because I think in the industry, I mean, it is. You go in two distinct paths. I mean, we were on the side of no drugs. Like, I never did any of that. We made money. I drank. I mean, we had fun doing that. And people always probably thought we were worse than we were because you can play it off. Like, I mean, we played that game very well on that side, or you go the other side. And I think we equally, like, it intermingles. Like, it's fine. We all respect everybody's fun and boundaries, do what you want. There's no judgment. Like, there was never any judgment, which was the best part.
We're being judged more right now.
We're being judged more outside of it.
Right.
Than
We're being judged right now by listeners and viewers for what we're saying or what I'm saying than what we were actually getting judged by when we were.
No, nobody cared if you were, again, you banged 3 girls in the walk-in and it came back out.
That was my
well, you had one.
So, doing it with Coke, I was like, I want to,
You want to bang. Yeah.
It's going to be drugs, alcohol, or pussy.
Yeah.
You got 3 things, and women don't succumb to it as much, obviously, in that industry. It's mostly the drugs or money part.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you go, one of them's going to...
Well, usually they succumb to the dick because of the drugs. So they're not just going for the dick, really.
Yeah.
But they are going for the dick that has the drugs when it comes to that.
Pay for it, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
whatever.
There was some shit, we've all seen some shit of what girls will do for blow in the bar, and it was disgusting. Disgusting shit. We got the peanut galleries, like...
Hands up.
But it's, I mean, we saw some nasty ass shit. And I mean, even when I was in, like Central working down at Time, those type of more club atmospheres.
Right.
God, it was, I mean, I just sat there and I was like, wow, y'all are
Speaking of that, do you remember like the Mardi Gras we used to do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Those were insane, bro. I was telling someone the other day.
Should like fucking illegal.
No, it should have been illegal. It was illegal, probably.
Yeah, it was so crazy for a few years. I remember we would be so busy that week that people were like, look, tits. I'm like, I'm too busy. I had seen so many tits, so like, I don't care.
I've seen all
I'm still getting out of the
They're all here.
I have a photo of a girl on my back, like chicken fighting you doing a pool.
Yeah.
Topless.
Just drinking.
In the edge, completely packed out. And while you're walking around.
Yeah.
And it would be a week later and girls would just be like pulling their pussy out like, baby, Mardi Gras is over.
Well, you got to put that away. I missed it, though.
You have to put that away.
I missed it, though.
Yeah. She's dancing on the bar, like just pulling her pants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, baby, like you can't do that.
God damn.
Oh.
Mardi
She does a split. It looks like 2 slugs run a lace.
I'm like, you got to put that away. you were gonna get in trouble. You can't do that.
No more beads, honey.
That was what that was like back then. That wasn't.
Oh, it was total. Like,
You know what's crazy about that too is people like, do you remember that time? And I'm like, nope. And it's something like stuck in their brain from like, because it's such an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it sounds like just another Friday night.
It's just another Friday night.
Yeah.
I go through that.
I think we're blessed like that.
Yeah.
You lived life. You actually had fun.
I forgot about more fun than most people have even had.
You had a lot of fun. You were all over the fucking place. But
if I die tomorrow,
social media, we had wind-up cameras in the beginning, remember? I mean, we were still on disposable shit in the beginning of those days. And it was fun because you could be stupid and let loose and do whatever.
Everyone used to bring them fucking cameras to Walmart, and then you get them developed, and everyone who developed them at Walmart saw that shit, and you didn't even know what the hell was on it.
You're like, I don't know what's in here.
You're like, I don't want to take this in?
Yeah, right. These dudes are looking. I know. Like, here's your pictures, bro. Okay, thanks.
Such judgment every time. So much judgment. But yeah, I mean, so you either succumb to it or you don't. But I think that the bottom line was it was a unified front in the fact of trying to make money, provide good experiences, and have fun. And no matter what side of the fence you were on in the industry, vice-wise, we all had a common goal. So I think that drove, like we've said, it's the incestuous part of this business that we're all stuck together for a long time, no matter what. And it's just how it is.
Yeah. How do you feel about the industry where it sits? How do you think? What's the state of the industry as far as your end of the industry and where you're concerned with? How do you feel about it?
I mean, I still feel good about it. I just feel the fact that the only thing I feel bad about is I'm getting old. I know I can't do it, but so well.
You ain't bullshitting.
That's all.
I'm wondering how many more times can I flip a saute pan? How many more times can I do bent over the fucking range? It's hard.
I want to be that little man with like a white, like button up and a little bow tie, just kind of like
cute,
fluttering about. While 2 studs are working on either side of me,
Yes,
killing
You're still bigger than half the fuckers back there.
No, I mean, as far as speed wise, I'm going to be like just puttering around, like trying to make a rum and cook.
Yeah, with the little things around you.
Barkies, like barkies,
What's it gonna be, Mac?
Little monocle. We'll get you something.
You don't know yet. Get out of the way.
Yeah.
You need honey.
You'll be that. Yeah. You'll still be
I hope
trying to, get there.
Do you think that the younger the youths with all the social medias and how things have changed that way? It used to be the social place to be was inside of the bar or the club. Now the social place to be is a picture of you inside the bar,
right?
And then you leave the fucking bar.
That's why you got murals like that. That's why you got
exactly right.
So paper in the bathroom looks like that, but you just got to learn we have to adapt to those things.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully that these younger generations that come up find themselves having a fucking fun time, being social in person, having a little couple drinks, and being able to control themselves enough to fucking do it again tomorrow. And don't fucking stop doing this. That's my biggest fear is that someday society no longer accepts or really needs the craving for going out for fucking entertainment. And that's the only fear I would have. Hopefully I'm long gone by then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would hate to see the fact that people can't cook, make drinks, or produce our passions for people anymore because people just don't have that in them or have the want for them, right? So that's my goal is to make sure we keep that interest going. So
see, I feel safe about that because you're still chasing the ass. You know what I mean? You're still... You got to go out.
Yeah.
Every getting tired, and you're like, my dick says I'm going out tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
My dick says I'm going out tonight.
Dick decision.
It looks like it looks like it's looking for water.
And girls are the same way. Let's not like it's 2024. Like we're all equals. You know what I mean? Girls can do whatever a man can do these days, and I'm like, I don't judge you any worse than I judge a man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
hey, do what you got to do.
Yeah, do what you got to do. Girls are going out because they're trying to get some dick too. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah.
It's not just guys going out trying to find some pussy.
Yeah, and then exactly. I think that it's a great environment. We're not going to stop it. But let's do a fucking review.
So, John, the end of every show, we always do some mean review from someone who's been in the restaurant, and you guys can respond. So you get to jump in and respond to this person you don't know, but you can respond to it.
Here, I'm going to read it. So, here's a review. Let's see. This is Richard.
Mean tweets.
Table. Mean tweets. Okay, this is on my restaurant as me or my staff or whatever. We had reservations for 2. They seated us in the back dark room away from everyone. We asked to be seated in the main area where this restaurant is known for excitement and energy, but was told they were booked. This place brags about being different and highlights the experience and entertaining venue. The food was good, but overall experience was a dud. They should have the option for main seating room or back room seating on this app. There are plenty of restaurants that serve excellent food. Food doesn't separate restaurants in class. It's about the overall experience. That's from Richard.
Okay.
All right.
Dick.
All right, Dick. Let me tell you something, you fucking clown. Here's the thing. When a review comes in, if there's validity to it, I'll admit to it and I'll fucking own it and say, okay, yeah, that's something we can work on. But here's the deal. He just said it right here. I was told they were booked. Richard, what you did, my friend, is you came to a place that is known, as you say, you're known for excitement and energy. You tried to book a reservation here the day of on a Friday, and you got fucked. The only thing we had open for you is our private dining room, which we turn open, and it's still it's a beautiful dining room.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the jazz band in it, but we do have its own music, and it has its own atmosphere, right? Now people request to sit in that room too. So it depends on where you're at. So Richard, next time you want to fucking come to one of the hottest spots in town, why don't you plan your fucking life a little better and stop being mad at me about it? You know what I mean? Don't be mad at me and my staff. You're right. The food was good. And I know you put the food was good because you couldn't really put anything good, so you really had to emphasize how miserable you were. But don't fucking say the food was good. You know the food was goddamn great. So let's stop playing there.
Okay.
Food 5, service 5, ambiance 1, overall 1.
So that doesn't even, that's not even
out. Dick, you're not even fucking doing it.
What the?
Listen,
Okay.
I give you,
John's
Richard.
better at math than we have.
Yeah, I give Richard right here, I give you a fucking no star out of 5 as a reviewer. You suck.
I feel like his date was boring. He got stuck in the back of his boring ass life.
It was a dud. You're a dud.
As a couple, you're boring as fuck. You were trying to go find something exciting, and you got caught in the back, and neither one of you were entertaining. You're like stuck at home.
Yeah, this
Great food. Now we're just stuck with our boring ass selves. That I'm tired of talking to you and saying you to start with. I don't know why the fuck we're here.
Right, that's exactly right.
I was hoping to see some hot broads out front.
Bottom line is, if you want to come in and get an exciting spot in our place, we're very honored to have you. We love to have you. You're not going to do it 3 or 4 days before the day you want to come.
No.
If you want to come in here on a weekend, Richard, come in here and make your reservation a week or 2 before, and that back room won't even be an option. We don't even open the back room up on our open table max or anything until we know the front of the house is sold out and you are fucking made aware of it, and you have to agree to go there before you did it.
Yeah.
Like you said here, once again, Dick.
Don't be a dick.
Some people just want to complain.
But was told they were booked.
You'll-
But you still made the reservation, didn't you?
And you still left 1 star. So
1 star for you because you know what? Zero.
on that note,
Yeah, you're in a negative. You're in a negative. Don't come back. I don't know what to tell you.
yeah.
You owe me one.
Well, John, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And we got to pop your cherry.
Yeah. I was nervous, but it wasn't bad.
Pop your cherry on a podcast. It's great.
Yeah, man. It's a lot of fun.
We were still reunited after a quarter of a century.
Right.
It's pretty awesome.
See you. Yeah.
Good time.
Oh, wow. We
Keep
love
rocking,
you.
bro.
Thank you.
Keep rocking. Ciao for now.